It's all covered in today's China Truths.
Beijing's latest consumption data continues to look bad, with total retail sales of consumer goods in March down nearly 10% year-on-year. Beijing dissidents revealed that even the stability maintenance funds, which the Chinese government considers the primary priority, have shrunk. On April 18, the Beijing Municipal Bureau of Statistics announced the total retail sales of consumer goods in March, which fell 9.9% year-on-year and 3.3% from January to March. According to the latest data released by the Beijing Statistics Bureau, compared with the same period last year, catering revenue in March decreased by 3.1% year-on-year, and catering revenue from January to March decreased by 3.8% year-on-year. Commodity retail sales in March decreased by 10.6%, and commodity retail sales from January to March decreased by 3.2% year-on-year. Mr. Qian, a Beijing resident, told Radio Free Asia that many shops and restaurants have closed down, leaving only takeout shops with relatively good business. Beijing used to be crowded with people, but now basically many of them are closed and out of business. It's deserted, and there are too many people looking for tenants. The shopping streets are deserted, and the people are calculating their lives. Mr. Qian described his life as calculating now. He doesn't buy anything if he can help it, and his expenses have been halved. At least I have saved half. I don't buy anything extravagant. Now I just need to fill my stomach and don't consider other things. I used to go to restaurants occasionally, and my family would spend money there. But now I basically don't go there. I cook by myself, which is definitely cheaper than eating out. Mr. Chen, a Beijing resident, also told Radio Free Asia that many shops in Beijing have indeed closed down, some of which are due to excessive government intervention. Since Kai Chi became the party secretary and started to clean up the low-end population, many street snacks, such as toast, sausage, and cold noodles, which supplied the most grassroots workers, have gradually been cleared away. Now that the consumption capacity is insufficient, many restaurants are not patronized, and it is estimated that they will not last long. Mr. Qian also mentioned that Beijing's consumption boom has been declining in recent years, which is related to the government's policy errors, including the cleanup of the low-end population, the COVID-19 pandemic, long-term lockdowns, etc. Many people have died in recent years, and many companies have withdrawn their capital. Stores have closed down. There have been layoffs and salary cuts, and the unemployed have returned to their hometowns. The resident population in Beijing has dropped sharply, and the number of people with money to spend has greatly decreased. There are almost no people in shopping malls, and many catering businesses have indeed collapsed. There are no people on the streets that used to be popular in Beijing and Shanghai. In the data released by the Statistics Bureau, the communication equipment category fell the most by 38.2%, followed by the cultural and office supplies category, which fell by 22.6%. The automobile category fell by 20.2%. The sports and entertainment products category fell by 17.6%. The petroleum and products category, daily necessities and cosmetics, fell by 14.6%, 13%, and 10.9%, respectively. The gold, silver, and jewelry category is one of the few that saw positive growth, with an increase of 28.5%, the highest. The grain, oil, and food category rose slightly by 1%. Dissident Ji Feng, who lives in Beijing, told Radio Free Asia that he recently took a friend's car back to Beijing. He drove for half a month and visited 7 or 8 places along the way. The economy was bad all the way. He did not meet anyone who said that this year was better than last year, not a single one. The money his friend earned from making Mutai liquor that year was also trapped in the stock market. Ji Feng, who used to live in Songzhuang, said that at least 100 painters left Songzhuang this year. Artists could not sell their paintings. Businesses went bankrupt, and they moved to cheaper houses in the suburbs. The economy has been declining. I would rather keep money in the bank than spend it, treat people, or go to restaurants. Ji Feng also said, in Beijing, only the old chain stores with good quality and low prices are doing well, such as Dayali and Jin Shaoshao Northeastern home-cooked dishes. In the past, you had to wait in line for 1 or 2 hours, but now you can get a seat anytime. It used to be troublesome to cook at home, but now you don't have money to eat out and people don't treat others to dinner. Income has dropped sharply, and even if there is a little money, people would rather keep it in the bank for fear that the economy will deteriorate again. This is why China's economy declined and consumption power declined last year. But the deposits of the people across the country increased because medical care, education, and pensions are not guaranteed. The Chinese government has shown a strong response to Trump's reciprocal tariff policy, but Ji Feng observes that the domestic economy is not as confident as the authorities claim. Ji Feng said, "There is no retaliatory rebound, but retaliation has come. Basically, half of foreign trade has collapsed. If Trump's reciprocal tariffs are imposed and China and the United States decouple, almost 70 to 80% will be out of business." Ji Feng mentioned that when former Chinese Vice President Wang Qishan encountered the Sino-US trade war in 2018, he blurted out that Chinese people can live for a year by eating grass. "In the future, we will tighten our belts. I feel that the party and the country will launch political movements. Only political movements can divert these things and prevent everyone from making trouble. This is a common method." Dissident. The government owes money for maintenance of stability, and the national security will advance it first. Ji Feng revealed that even the maintenance of stability has shrunk. Government civil servants are not allowed to eat and drink lavishly. This line has been cut due to financial constraints. "Look at my national security. Now reimbursement has become a problem. Now they are all like this. They have to advance the money themselves. After the advance, it sometimes takes half a year to reimburse, and they are unwilling to do so. In the past, they could borrow money first and then get reimbursed, but now they are not allowed to borrow money." Ji Feng mentioned that he used to be invited to dinner by the National Security Police at any time and taken on a trip on sensitive days. The national security used to borrow money first, but now they have to advance it themselves and they don't know when they can be reimbursed. For example, the national security once advanced 1,500 yuan to repair his computer and replace the battery, and it has been almost a year, and it has not been reimbursed yet. Ji Feng also said that in the past, the national security said they would come to Beijing and could travel for 10 days or half a month. Now they are in a hurry and leave in 2 or 3 days. They must first ask for permission and report to the higher authorities before they can go. The reimbursement for forced travel is 500 yuan per day for accommodation in Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, and Shenzhen, 350 yuan per day in some provincial capitals, and 250 yuan per night in some places. Ji Feng said that based on the government's fiscal revenue announced last year, Shanghai was one of the few profitable ones, and the finances of other provinces and cities were mostly in deficit. Real estate can't be sold, land can't be sold, stocks have fallen, cars are now a problem, orders are going wrong, dumped goods can't be sold, restaurants can't run, people are tightening their belts to live a hard life. It's the common people who are living a hard life, not the officials. They consume as usual, but they are a very small minority. They can't support the entire restaurant industry. They can only support a few stores. X platform. Teacher Li is not your teacher. Released a video showing that most of the restaurants in the Beijing CBD World Trade Center, from the catering industry in the basement to the clothing and brand stores on the first and second floors, have pulled down their iron doors or are under renovation and idle. The videographer said, "It was very lively before the epidemic, but now there is no one. Many shops have been empty for a long time and no one rents them. The whole floor is like swatting flies. Swatting flies, business is slow and the clerks have nothing to do. Most shops are closed and there are no people." Another video on the platform quoted Mr. Zhang, who runs a noodle shop in Beijing, saying that a large number of restaurants in Beijing have closed down in the past 2 years, leaving too many tenants. This year, there are too many people and too little work all over the country, and many people come to Beijing to find shops. A friend looked at more than a dozen shops in one day, but the salary was too high and he couldn't afford to hire people. He also has nearly 20 relatives and friends around him who have no work to do, and those who open shops lose money. In the once popular shopping mall in Haizhu District, Guangzhou, the 3rd, 4th, and 5th floors are empty and the shops are not open. What happened in 2025? Do you think that only physical stores cannot be rented out? This is not the end. Office buildings are also difficult to rent. You see, this is a Creative Park office building next to Nangang subway station. It is very difficult to rent. Most of this floor is vacant. No company is willing to come into work. I really don't know how they maintain the operation of these office buildings. In general, with the economic downturn, many companies have chosen to go to cheaper office buildings, and some companies may have gone bankrupt. In recent years, China's economy has continued to be sluggish. Recently, there have been many discussions that Guangzhou's economic growth has slowed down and may even face the risk of falling from a first-tier city to a second-tier city. At the same time, local people have found that fewer and fewer people live in Guangzhou, and many houses cannot be rented out, and the streets are much quieter. Let's talk about related topics today. Who knows what's going on? It's too weird. Did the 20 million people in Guangzhou suddenly give up eating collectively? Look at the catering business. When I came out at noon, there was no one in the store. I thought everyone went home to cook, but the vegetable market couldn't sell any vegetables. What's even more confusing is that from the north to the south, from Hangzhou to Chengdu, this phenomenon is happening in cities all across the country. Where have people gone? Or do people not eat now? This blogger went to a shopping mall to purchase secondhand equipment. This shopping mall used to be very popular, but now there is no one. When I came to buy from this store, I thought the mall was under renovation, because from the fences of each store, I could see that various well-known brands were about to open, but I heard from the boss that the merchants here had actually withdrawn. Although the location of this mall is good and the boss has signed a 3-year contract, there has been no traffic since the second half of last year. Generally, when we say there is no traffic, we mean that there are fewer people, but this mall is very strange, almost empty. The malls that I have seen before were all empty on a whole floor, but this mall has no people on all 3 floors. Especially in April, everyone said where the people went and no one came out to consume. Guangzhou native Liao Jianhao is pessimistic about Guangzhou's economic prospects. He told Radio Free Asia, "Many shops in the city are closed and a large number of migrant workers have lost their jobs and returned home. Those houses are not rented." He believes that Guangzhou's economy has regressed 20 years. He said, "The economy in 2015 was much better than it is now. The current economic level is about the same as in 2005, which is more realistic. The Shangxiajiu Road pedestrian street in Liwan District, Guangzhou, is famous both at home and abroad." However, the blogger noticed that many shops on this street were closed, which surprised him. This video takes everyone to see the current situation of Guangzhou's famous Shangxiajiu pedestrian street. First, let's talk about the current time. It is 5:23 p.m. on April 22, 2025. We can see that many shops on Shangju Road and Shangxiajiu have closed down. They are not temporarily closed, but closed for good because their signs have been removed. See not only on this side, but also on that side. And it is not just 1 or 2 shops that have closed, but many shops. When I saw it for the first time, I was surprised. You know, this is Shangju Road in the famous Shangxiajiu in Guangzhou. Looking at this row, I don't know what happened. If it were other roads, it would be understandable. But as Shangju Road is a pedestrian street, it is a bit unreasonable. Why has it fallen to this? In the past, it could be said that it was difficult to find a shop, which also made the rent of shops here soar to 100,000 yuan a month. At that time, even if some shops closed down, they were quickly taken over by the next buyer. But now you can see that many shops are not rented, and I don't understand. Zhujiang New Town is located in the west of Tianhe District, Guangzhou. It is an important commercial activity center in South China. Many landmark buildings in Guangzhou, such as the Guangzhou Jiudefu Financial Center and the Guangzhou International Financial Center, are located here. But the current situation there is not optimistic. Now it is near the Tankun subway station in the East District of Zhujiang New Town. We see that 2 shops across the street have closed down. It is more obvious here. The ones that have closed down are investment securities companies and real estate agencies. Even the shop that used to sell high-end red wine, foreign wine, and bird's nest has shrunk to such a small size. This is the subway exit. The vacancy rate of shops on the neighboring street is so high. Then let's see who the survivors are. You see, such a large shop is in the medical beauty industry and the tea industry. The actual situation is similar to the information I have come across. In the past 2 years, a large number of financial and real estate agencies have gone bankrupt. In fact, the consumption or investment of many rich people has also been affected. We can see that many high-consumption stores have gradually closed down. I even saw many auction and pawn shops entering Zhujiang New Town. It seems that everyone is a little short of money now. The takeaway brother Ax Yuan found that many stores have closed down, especially those in the catering industry. This used to be a Northeast dumpling store with many orders, 200 or 300 orders a day, but it has also closed down. It has been vacant for more than 2 months but has not been rented out. This is a shared kitchen on the second floor. There is no dining room. It is all online business, which is what you call a takeaway store. I have witnessed the process from the initial full occupancy of dozens or 20 stores to the current sparse occupancy of only a few. Jiangsu also closed down, and Michinkingnian also closed down. Guangzhou is really terrible. Now the bankruptcy rate of physical stores is as high as 80%. What is the concept? It means that if you go shopping, there are 100 stores on a street, and only 4 stores will remain after a year. This is what a loan customer in Guangzhou said to me today. He said that at the peak he opened 8 stores in Guangzhou, but now there is only 1 left. There are fewer and fewer physical stores, and there are fewer fireworks in Guangzhou. Let's take a look at the urban area of Panyu, Guangzhou. Why is it so desolate? It feels like many stores are basically closed and you can't see many people on the street. I remember when I came here in high school, it was still very prosperous. Let's take a look. Basically, many shops have closed. I didn't see many people in the third section. Maybe they can't continue to operate. I don't know if it was affected by the previous epidemic, which caused the flow of people to be diverted. And there are very few people going out to shop. In 2014 and 2013, there were crowds of people. But now, hey, there are fewer people in Guangzhou. I feel it has become quite obvious in the past 2 years. Some nearby villages used to have many clothing factories, some with a few people and some with dozens. All those factories have disappeared. They have left many clothing factories or stores, but they are not rented out and are sitting empty. I also worked there before. There were 6 elevators in the office building. During the morning rush hour, there was a long queue outside the office building to get on the elevator. Now, this phenomenon is rarely seen. The new way to die in 2025 is to come to Guangzhou to find a job. If you don't believe it, you can buy a ticket and take a 25-hour train to experience it yourself. You can't find a job here, but you won't starve to death. This Guangzhou is a first-tier city with many opportunities and strong tolerance. It gives many young people opportunities, but you will find that there are many opportunities, but also obstacles everywhere. The salary is ridiculously low. You are either working for your boss, working for your landlord, or working for Meituan. It has been about 7 or 8 days since I resigned. Every day when I was looking for a job, I was really anxious and felt that there was no hope in life. You want to work hard, but you don't know where to start, and then you can only watch your savings decrease and your mood gets worse and worse. Today is my last day in Guangzhou. Tomorrow I will go to Xinjiang to help farmers and see if I can find the ultimate value of life. Sorry, I am going to desert Guangzhou, a so-called first-tier city. Just after Chinese Communist Party leader Xi Jinping visited 3 Southeast Asian countries and tried to win them over to stand with the CCP against the United States has now opened fire on 4 Southeast Asian countries. On April 21st, the U.S. Department of Commerce announced that it had preliminarily approved anti-dumping and anti-subsidy tariffs on solar products. According to the Ministry of Commerce document, the United States will impose a 41.56% tariff on Malaysian solar products, a 375.19% tariff on solar products produced in Thailand, and a 120% tariff on solar companies in Vietnam. And because Cambodian manufacturers did not cooperate with the U.S. investigation, the United States will impose more than 3,500% tariffs on products from Cambodia. The U.S. International Trade Commission will make a final decision on the new tariffs in June. According to U.S. government data, in 2024, the United States imported $12.9 billion worth of solar products from Malaysia, Vietnam, Thailand, and Cambodia. The investigation found that more than 90% of the products came from Chinese companies. The U.S. Department of Commerce said that Chinese manufacturers bypassed the original trade restrictions through these countries, and Chinese companies shipped components from China to Southeast Asia for final assembly to circumvent the existing tariffs on Chinese domestic solar products, and believed that this behavior harmed the interests of American domestic manufacturers. However, in fact, this round of tariffs is not a new move by the Trump administration, but is based on an anti-dumping and anti-subsidy investigation that began during the Biden administration. The new tariff policy is expected to be officially implemented in June. Professor Zheng Jianyuan, chairman of the Chinese Democratic Academy, said, "The U.S. government has cracked down on origin washing in recent years, but for Cambodia, the U.S. is still unheard of to impose a 3,500% tariff on it." Why do you think the United States has given this sky-high tariff number? Qin Peng, current affairs commentator and senior political and economic analyst, said, according to the Inflation Reduction Act introduced by the Biden administration, in some states, such as California and Massachusetts, solar power generation accounts for more than 15% of total power generation. Today, in order to balance trade, the U.S. government hopes to significantly reduce cheap solar products from China, but will this increase the cost of electricity in states that use clean energy? Professor Zheng Jianyuan, previously the Vietnamese government, which is good at bamboo diplomacy, expressed its unwillingness to deteriorate relations with the Chinese Communist Party due to the U.S. tariff policy. Therefore, Vietnam emphasizes that negotiations with the United States do not involve trade restrictions on third countries. However, at present, the local solar energy industry has seen production cuts and layoffs due to tariffs, and some Chinese companies have begun to withdraw from Vietnam. At this moment, just as the leader of the Chinese Communist Party has just ended his visit to Southeast Asian countries, and the United States is putting such pressure on him, do you observe that bamboo diplomacy can still support the foreign policies of Southeast Asian countries such as Vietnam under the current situation? How do you expect future China-Cambodia relations? JD.com versus Meituan. China's food delivery industry is in fierce competition. Fuyao, just as China and the United States are fighting a tariff war, a rare war has broken out in China's food delivery industry. JD.com versus Meituan. In recent years, with changes in people's consumption patterns, especially among young people, China's food delivery market has grown, and at the same time, competition has become increasingly fierce. China's food delivery market has always been dominated by Meituan and Elle.me, of which Meituan occupies nearly 70% of the market share. However, Chinese e-commerce giant JD.com entered the food delivery market strongly in February this year, adopting a series of differentiated strategies and confronting Meituan many times, which caused a new round of internal war in the food delivery industry. The instant retail market is currently the focus of fierce competition among Meituan, JD.com, and other platforms. On April 15th, Meituan officially launched the instant retail brand Meituan Flash Purchase and launched the slogan, "Deliver everything in 30 minutes." The war escalated on the 21st, and JD.com announced that from now on, all food delivery orders that are overdue by more than 20 minutes will be waived. JD.com also published an open letter criticizing Meituan, without naming it, for forcing riders to choose between platforms, leading to income losses and delayed JD.com deliveries. The letter accused Meituan of exploiting its monopoly to profit while avoiding social insurance payments for over a decade. JD.com also introduced new measures, including ensuring that delivery men who are banned by other platforms have enough orders and encouraging part-time delivery men to accept orders freely. JD.com also said that it would recruit another 100,000 full-time delivery men in the next 3 months. Another interesting point is that JD.com said it would give priority to providing employment opportunities for the spouses of its delivery men. Meituan responded on the same day, denying that Meituan restricted delivery men from accepting orders on different platforms, and instead pointed out that JD.com's harsh management led to the loss of delivery men and merchants, causing order delays. In the evening, Meituan officials also published a short article, quoting a sentence from Jin Yang's The Heaven Sword and Dragon Saber, "Let him be strong, the breeze blows over the hills. Let him be arrogant, the bright moon shines on the river." Meituan also quoted the words of Master Hongyi Li Shutong below. "If you are slandered, you must not defend yourself. I often see people who are slandered and then defend themselves, which makes them suffer more." It feels like Meituan has suddenly reached the realm of Buddhism. Of course, it said, "Let him be strong," which clearly implies that it is referring to JD.com president Liu Qiangdong. Liu Qiangdong was not idle either. On Monday, netizens photographed him wearing the clothes of a delivery boy and personally delivering food to cheer for JD.com's food delivery business. Netizens commented that he was really fighting hard. The battle between the two giants can be described as both sides suffer losses in the market. Both companies are listed in Hong Kong. On Tuesday, their share prices fell sharply. JD.com's Hong Kong stocks fell 8.1% at one point, and Meituan's Hong Kong stocks fell 7.1%, hitting the lowest level in about 7 months. Both stocks are among the worst performing stocks in the Hang Seng Technology Index. It is worth noting that the public battle between the two giants in the food delivery industry is in the context of the fierce tariff war between China and the United States. While countering the U.S., the CCP vowed to boost domestic circulation and make expanding demand a long-term strategy. Officials urged retailers to shift from exports to domestic sales. However, in the past 2 years, China's economy has declined, consumption has downgraded, and demand remains weak. As China's economy declines, many middle-class citizens have fallen into poverty and turned to food delivery. In Beijing, the number of delivery workers jumped 50% in the first half of last year. The tariff war has shut down numerous factories, and unemployment is expected to rise further. Mr. Qin Peng, from the perspective of industry analysis, what do you think is the reason for this battle between JD.com and Meituan? In addition, from the perspective of the overall environment, is there a direct connection between this internal war in the food delivery industry and the Sino-US tariff war? The word internal volume has now become a very high-frequency word in mainland China. According to data from the Chinese Communist Party in 2022, foreign trade has driven 180 million jobs. According to data from 2023, China's exports accounted for nearly 20% of GDP. Guangdong, Zhejiang, Jiangsu, and Shandong are recognized as the 4 major exporting provinces in China. Professor Zheng Jianyuan, if China decouples from the United States in trade, it will undoubtedly usher in a large number of unemployed people. Can the battle between JD.com and Meituan be regarded as a harbinger of intensified internal competition and more brutal competition in various industries in China? Is the overall environment too pessimistic? Netizens collectively claim to be rat people. Recently, there is another word that has become popular on the mainland internet. That is, rat people. What is a rat person? Rat people live day and night upside down. Except for activities such as eating and going to the toilet that are necessary to maintain the normal operation of life, the rest of the time is either sleeping or playing with mobile phones. Other things can be delayed as much as possible, and there are no needs or goals. However, this state full of low energy, procrastination, and slight rottenness has resonated with countless netizens, and the popularity has overshadowed the so-called exquisite life vlog. Netizens have collectively claimed the title of rat people. Up to now, topics related to low energy have been played over 100 million times on the entire network, and once topped the hot search list of Xiaohongshu. Topics related to Rat Man have been played nearly 2 billion times on the entire network, and Ratman has become a new character in 2025.
Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. We will keep reporting on the COVID surge in China, so don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell to get the latest videos. And thank you for tuning in.